Hi, I'm Rob Patz.
And I'm Kristen Stanton.
And this is The Rob and Kristen Show. You know what? I just love that new open. I just love the whole thing. I love the new set. I love the new open. I love the new clothes. It's all awesome. You know what that makes me, though, want to do?
Hard to say.
It is, really, because it is kind of a wild card. I want to do some new things. In fact, I want to go on location.
Now that would be so much fun.
Okay.
I would really love that.
I want to do that. So here's the deal. I want you to tell us where we should go. Now, it should be in the United States.
The United States.
That's easier way for us to do this stuff. So in the United States, and you know what else I learned that's new this week, or it's new to me? I realized that we've probably been getting a lot of people contacting us that way, and I just didn't know it. But you can actually...
Through the app?
Mm-hmm. You can actually contact us through the app. I don't know how I didn't know this.
It's okay.
It happens, you know? But tell us where you would love to have us come and film. We'd also love your prayer request. Maybe you've got a testimony of something great that's happened. Or, one of my favorite things, tell me how much you think I'm really cool. And how, of the Rob and Kristen show, is your favorite part. Hey, one of my favorite parts is talking about Mike Lindell and the great folks at MyPillow. You know what? If you need sheets, pillows, or slippers, or anything else, go to mypillow.com. Use the promo code ATV when you check out. Mike's got a lot of great stuff, including, like I said, slippers, which are great for this time of year because it is getting chilly and your feet get kind of cold.
It is.
It is. It's terrible. Use the promo code ATV. Thanks to the great folks at MyPillow, Mike Lindell, and those guys do a great job, and we appreciate them so very much. You know what it's time for? My favorite part of the show.
Uh-huh.
It is. Because it's not big. We think you should know. Before we get started, though, I got to ask you, so what's your favorite part about fall?
Cooler weather.
Mm-hmm.
And I love trying new recipes, cooking new recipes. I love lighting candles.
Uh-huh. We light candles in our house, though, year-round, so it's not just...
But it's a different... We have different scents that we light during this time of year.
Different seasons,
Cinnamon,
different scents.
Spices, cloves.
Cinnamon, spice, and everything nice?
Yes.
Or something like that. Anyway, you know what my favorite part of fall
I
is.
do.
What is that?
Football.
Football. Okay, this first story, it was like awesome. I was like, this is funny. Texas Tech TCU game, and there was an illegal, not man, but animal on the field.
Uh-oh. What happened?
A possum got on the field. Now, I understand the Texas Christian coach, TCU, they're the Horned Frogs. They weren't too sure. They, in fact, might have been a little scared of a possum. Not sure if that's a predator or not. But the Horned Frogs haven't had a great season anyway. Sorry, guys. You know, but it ended okay. He was caught. I would say if it's in Texas, because they're both school, he was wrangled.
He was wrangled.
Yes.
They actually went and they caught him with one of those animal pole catchers, I guess. And I watched the video and I saw them, and he was like really fighting them as they were dragging him off the field. But then they said that once he got down the ramp, off the ramp, you're a football person.
Yep,
Am I calling it?
He went down the ramp probably. Yeah.
So they said he got a lot better. But then they also said that the president of Texas Tech was petting him. Now, I wouldn't touch a possum. You couldn't pay me to touch a possum.
Now, we are animal lovers.
I love animals.
But that is a homely animal.
No, it's just scary. They
they're homely.
No, they look scary.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen one up close?
Oh, yes.
Because I have. They're scary
Oh, yes.
looking.
Yes. being from Washington, we had possums out there. They're not pretty, and they scare me. You know what else scares me?
I have no idea.
Lots of things, but this time it's roller coasters. Lately, roller coasters have really been scaring me.
So, getting him on a roller coaster
Is not
has
ever
been
happening.
impossible. And here in the state of Ohio, we have some amusement parks, and one of them is Cedar Point, known as America's Roller Coast. And people from all over the world come to Cedar Point. Well, so one of the really cool things, I'm a little hesitant about this, but Cedar Fair, who owns Cedar Point, and among many other ones like Kings Island, Knott's Berry Landing, or whatever it's called, Knott's Berry Farm.
In California, Knott's Berry Farm.
Knott's Berry Farm.
They own Knott's Berry Farm?
Carowinds.
Really?
Carowinds.
They
and
call
then
it
there's
Not Scary Farm.
Not Scary.
That's what all the West Coast people now are laughing.
And then there's, but then there's other ones too. They have water parks. So they've merged with Six Flags. So Cedar Fair and Six Flags have now merged. And Cedar Fair owns a little bit higher of a percentage of the shares of the new company, like 51.2%. And Six Flags owns 48.8%. And they are now going to be headquartered in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're still keeping some of their administrative offices in Sandusky, Ohio, which is the home of Cedar Point.
Or what do they call it?
America's Roller Coast.
Roller Coast, yeah. and
It's on
the
the
only
shores of Lake Erie. You should
Yes.
really go sometime.
If you hear about me on a roller coaster, it's probably because I was incapacitated and then shoved on the roller coaster. That'll be the only way.
No.
And you'll see this.
No, you're on the roller. If you see him on a roller coaster, you know it's because he loves me so much that
Not
he
that much,
wants to
no,
go
not that much.
on a roller coaster with me.
Do you think they have a logo yet?
I don't know.
Do you think maybe it's an animal or anything like that?
It's a good question.
I don't know. But in Massachusetts, there was a moose. I'm wondering, maybe a moose? I don't know how that would tie in.
No,
No.
I don't think so.
So, it's time of year, of course, for school pickup lines and school drop-off lines. And you see different things at these. There's just odd things at times. People drive different kinds of vehicles and different. But in Massachusetts, there's an elementary school that can boast the fact that there was a moose on the loose in the drop-off line.
I cannot imagine.
Do you think he was looking for Rocky? Gee, Bullwinkle.
How long have you been waiting?
Waiting all day for that. It has been, the anticipation has been high. Anyway, great news for the moose and for the kids. Kids were all safe. Moose meandered, because I don't think a moose moves fast.
Well, they said that it was very calm and it was not aggressive at all, but the police did monitor it to make sure that it left the area. So all the children were safe. The parents did a good job keeping the kids safe.
So it would be moose tracks. I'm here all night.
Do I need to put on a little paching?
Let's not. Yeah, because that would ruin the joke, because it was such a classy joke.
So speaking of animals, we always have to have our bear story. And to be honest with you, it's coming up to that time of year where the bears are going to be starting to hibernate, so we're not going to have bears in the news as often.
It's going to be sad.
It's going to be
It's going to be unbearable. You knew I was getting it in.
I knew you were getting it in sometime. But there was a bear in a Florida neighborhood that was out trick-or-treating. No joke.
I wonder what he went as.
A bear.
Oh. So really he didn't put a lot of effort
No,
into
he
this.
didn't.
No.
But he did find some unattended candy bowls, and he was eating the candy. And it was really cute because when you watch the video, you hear the family. It was kids. The mom was recording it. They were at a safe distance once again, but she was recording it, and you hear the little boys talking about the bear eating the wrappers. Like, absolutely. He's eating the wrappers too? It was so cute. But the bear was out trick-or-treating, but then when it got a little bit too close, they took off in their golf cart.
Yeah, too close would be seeing the bear. That would be too close for me. And yeah, no, but we of course had to have the bear. And just for the record, I do not normally eat my candy with the wrapper on. There have been occasions where you just don't see the wrapper that's on there. Have you ever had that where you're like,
Maybe like a little teeny part of a wrapper, especially like on Starburst.
Yes.
Which in this particular story, one of the little boys was saying, "Well, I eat that. I do that too. You know, sometimes with Starburst, the wrapper doesn't really have any flavor."
Hey, this past week, Kristen and I went out, looked at Christmas trees. Now we're not buying yet, and these were trees that were fake, but it's really exciting because they've announced that we have a 63-foot Norway spruce that came from the mountains of West Virginia. And so this is super cool. And of course, you love trees and love Christmas. Just think what you could do with a 63-foot tree.
It is really pretty impressive. They found this Christmas tree in the Allegheny Mountains in West Virginia. So it's part of the Christmas Tree Initiative. And so it's a 53-year tradition where they go to one of America's national forests, and then they go and scope out the perfect tree to take back to the Capitol. So in this particular one, what I thought was really neat is they're actually going to make several stops in different places in West Virginia.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and it's going to be decorated with a lot of handcrafted items from the people of West Virginia.
Some fantastic folks. If you've never been to West Virginia, you need to go. Super friendly people. And congratulations on the 63-foot Christmas tree. Love the idea. I have to tell you, that's kind of cool about, being able to travel and have the tree travel, not just have it go, but have it, the people, it gives a connection to the folks of West Virginia, and that's super cool. And you know what? It's that time of the show where we get to do a video package. I love video packages almost as much as the top 5. Thanks so much for putting up with us as we did the top 5 this week. And now we're going to roll our video package. Hey, it's Rob Pass. I'm here in Bryan, Ohio for their fall festival. We're going to have a great time. There are over 120 vendors. Now,
So if we decorated our house for fall, I would definitely get some of these things because they are just so cute.
besides the cheesecake brownie. Defiance, which is our home. One of the cute little towns here in the great state of Ohio, that is Bryan, Ohio, and their fall festival, which was super fun I had a great time. Plus, we got to eat, which, any fall festival where there's eating.
And you got to try some new coffee?
I got to try some new coffee. We got to eat, which was amazing.
Oh,
that
yes.
that cheesecake thing, that cheesecake brownie. Oh, yeah. I
really
wish I
good.
had some right now. I'm really hungry.
Do you remember? So you're never really sure of what kind of desserts you're going to get, like if they're going to be really good or maybe not as good.
Especially at a fair
Right.
a fair situation like that, yes.
So we decided we are going to try one to support this local.
They're a farm and a bakery. It's very cool.
Right. And so we went and sat down and we took like 2 bites and we looked at each other and like, we better go back and get another one.
Well, I didn't want her to be out. And of course, you saw a little bit in the video package of her and her mom and her husband. And it was so cool. And a great, Bryan, Ohio, look it up. You know what else is in Bryan?
Besides the courthouse that I go to?
Yes, Spangler.
Oh, Spangler candy.
Yeah.
Dum Dums.
So be watching. I have a connection at Spangler Candy. So be watching. We're going to take you behind the scenes at Spangler Candy coming up this season. That's one of our exciting video packages that we're going to be doing. Hey, listen, I want to talk about, we've been having some really great teaching over the last few weeks. And maybe just recap a little bit where we've been so that people know, and then where we're going.
Well, we have talked a lot about the widow woman. We've talked about broken vessels. We've talked empty vessels.
Yep.
We've talked about from empty to overflow. We've talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Yep.
And so now we're going to talk a little bit about Daniel, another name that people really recognize studying the Bible. And we are in Daniel chapter 6. And one of the things that I really wanted to talk about today, Rob, is just the spirit of excellence. I think it is so important that in anything that we do it with a spirit of excellence.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think you were taught that. I think that your mom and dad are very much into that. My mom and dad were very much, if you're going to do it to the best you can.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that we see about Daniel. And that's one of the things that I really love about this story. And this is a story that I was taught from a really young age. I've been in church my whole life. I went to a Christian college, got a minor in Bible. Hi to all of my Cedarville alumni that are out there. But when I reread this chapter, some things jumped out at me that I have to be honest and say that I just don't remember them. And it could be because I was focused in on the basics of the story, and then here I start seeing the details, all of the little details. And so if you remember about the story of Daniel, he was in captivity. All of Israel, or part of Israel, was in captivity at that time. But he was set over a large number of people. He was one of the King Darius. He was one of his presidents, so to speak. And what you see in Daniel chapter 6 in verse 3, it says, "Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent spirit was in him." And it also says, "And the king thought to set him over the whole realm." Well, you know what happens when people start to see the spirit of excellence in you? One of 2 things is going to happen. They're either going to dislike you because they're jealous of you, or they're going to want to elevate you because they see what you are doing and they understand that you're trying to do things at a high level. And so here we see that there was a group of people that went to set a plot against Daniel. And so I wanted to kind of point out a couple of things. So this group of people went to King Darius and they buttered King Darius up and they said, "Oh, King Darius, live forever." This is in verse 6. I'm not making this up. "Live forever." And of course, they were saying, oh, you should make this statute. You should make a decree that whoever would ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, except for you, O King Darius, then he should be cast into the lion's den. Now, of course, you're King Darius and they've just puffed you up, and you're going, oh, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do that. Now, one of the really important things to remember at the time, if they established something in a decree, in writing, per the laws of the Medes and the Persians, it could not be changed.
Wow. No, I did not know that.
They couldn't change it. And so he did this, didn't really, I guess, give a lot of thought to it. But then he signed it. And I'm sure that the rest of these people were snickering behind the scenes and going, oh, we finally got Daniel.
Got him.
And so, but this is what I love. In verse 10, it says, now Daniel knew. He knew the writing was signed. So this is so important because, Daniel knew that there was a writing signed. He knew what the repercussions of the writing was going to be. And yet he still, when he was in his house, he still went and he prayed and he praised God. And he did this with his windows open. He didn't try to hide what he was doing, even knowing what the decree said. He wasn't going to hide who he was. He was still going to continue to do the same things that he had always done. And of course, I'm sure that they were right there waiting because his windows were open. They knew his patterns. They knew his habits.
That's what I was just going to say. So they had plotted this, but they had also probably watched him to know exactly when he did this.
Sure. And so then it says in verse 11, it says, then these men assembled and they found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. And so, of course, these men, as you all know the story, they went and they told the king. Now, the king was upset with himself because he knew that there was nothing that he could do, and yet he tried to come up with a way to kind of back out of this decree that he made, but he couldn't do it because that was the law at the time. And it says in verse 14, it says, when he heard their words, he was displeased with himself, and he set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. But you know what is so interesting about this? In verse 15, it says, then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, know, O king, that the law of the Medes and the Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. But the king didn't give up on anything. And he commanded that Daniel be brought to him and that he be cast into the lion's den. And he spoke to Daniel, and this is what he said, your God, whom you serve continually, he will deliver you. He didn't say, Daniel, he can deliver you if he wants to. He said, the Lord who you serve continually will deliver you. How much faith does it take to make a statement like that?
A lot.
And this was a King Darius. He was not a servant of God.
Right. That's what I was just going to say. He wasn't a servant. From what we believe, did not believe in God the way Daniel did.
Well, his reference was always your God, the God who you serve.
Right.
And yet, the guy who didn't have a relationship with Almighty God, the creator of the universe, had more faith than most of us as Christians have. Because we often find ourselves in a situation that doesn't make any sense and we're trying to figure out how to get out of it, but yet we can't. And instead of going, you know what, God can deliver me from this, God will deliver me from this, we sit there and we call our friend, we talk to our church people, we talk to our spouse, we sit there and write things down, trying to figure this out. And all the while, all it takes is for us to believe that God knows exactly where we are. He allowed us to be in that position that we are in, and knowing that he will deliver us. But yeah, we don't have that kind of faith that Darius had. Now, this is also in verse 18. If you skip to verse 18, it says that he passed the night in fasting. Darius passed the night in fasting. And then when he got up in the morning, it said he arose very early in the morning and he went in haste to the lion's den.
Can you imagine him running? It was probably in haste, meaning he was probably running. And he's probably thinking, oh, I hope I see Daniel.
I'm sure that he thought that. In verse 20, it says, when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spoke and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is your God, whom you serve continually, able to deliver you from the lions? And when I read that, I thought, well, if I don't think somebody is actually still alive, I'm not speaking to them.
Very true.
I'm just waiting to go, and okay, you might as well, roll this big stone away, because go get the undertakers, go get the people, to pick up the bones.
Yeah, that would be probably it. Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. But he didn't. He went and he talked to Daniel, and he said, Daniel, was your God able to deliver you? And it said in verse 21, it says, then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. Daniel didn't have any negative spirit against the king, even though the king threw him in the lion's den. He didn't go back and try to do anything against the king. And he said, my God has sent his angel and has shut the lions' mouths, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before you, O king, have I done no hurt. And it said, then the king was exceedingly glad for him, and he commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found on him, because he believed in his God.
Yep.
That is the spirit of excellence, that no matter what comes your way, that you continue to be the same person that you are when people are watching or when people aren't watching. That you continue to worship God, that you continue to pray, and that you do all things as unto the Lord.
That is so cool. And that was awesome. I love that. And that's a whole new way to look at that, looking at it from a different angle. Hey, you know what? I appreciate that teaching. We appreciate you, and go out and live an abundant life.